The studio lights rise slowly. The audience murmurs with excitement, and the familiar energy of America's Got Talent
fills the entire auditorium,
creating an atmosphere of expectation, curiosity, and suspense.
And in the middle of all that noise, all that electricity, a young Filipino boy stands backstage, holding a microphone tightly
between his slightly trembling hands, breathing slowly, trying to calm his racing heart, because he knows that in just a few seconds, those giant doors will open,
and he will step onto one of the biggest
and most intimidating stages in the world. A stage where dreams are made, lives are changed, and talent is tested in ways he never experienced before. He is no stranger to struggle, no stranger to hardship, no stranger to nights filled with hope
and mornings filled with doubt, because
coming from a humble neighborhood in the Philippines,
music has always been his companion, his escape, his voice,
even when life was challenging, even when opportunities felt far away, across oceans beyond borders, almost unreachable, yet somehow he believed. Somehow his mother believed.
Somehow his late father believed.
And every note he sings carries their hopes, along with his own as he waits. Hearing the muffled sound of the judges speaking on stage, the boy closes his eyes for a moment, whispering a small prayer and remembering how many times he practiced in front of a cracked mirror, how many songs he learned from old radio stations, how many times his neighbors encouraged him, telling him that his voice was special,
different, powerful,
capable of touching hearts, even without a microphone, even without an audience capable of telling a story.
No words ever could those memories guide him forward. And as a stagehand gives him a gentle cue,
the doors slowly begin to open, revealing the dazzling lights,
the enormous audience, and the iconic panel of judges,
including Simon Cowell, whose reputation alone
is enough to make any performer's knees shake.
But instead of letting fear overwhelm him, the boy breathes deeply, steps forward, and walks into the spotlight. The crowd sees him a small figure on a giant stage, and the room quiets down, curious, quietly wondering what someone so young, so humble, so visibly nervous might bring to the competition. Simon looks at him with the familiar blend of skepticism and interest, the kind of expression that says,
"Let's see what you've got," while Sophia and Heidi smile warmly,
trying to help him feel at ease.
Howie leans forward,
studying the boy with thoughtful eyes. The host watches from backstage, rooting silently, sensing something special. The boy introduces himself softly, his voice shaking but sincere, telling them his name, his age, and where he comes from, mentioning his small town in the Philippines, speaking with pride yet humility,
explaining that he has dreamt of standing on this stage since he was very young,
that he used to watch AGT on an old TV
with fuzzy signal, never imagining that he would one day be here,
breathing the same air as these judges, facing this huge audience, standing in this bright spotlight
that feels warm on his skin
and heavy on his shoulders. Simon asks him what made him decide to audition, and the boy pauses for a moment, swallowing gently,
before revealing that he wants to help his family, that he wants to honor his father,
that music
is the only way he knows how to express himself,
and that he hopes with all his heart
that his voice will be enough today. Simon nods slowly, still skeptical,
but clearly touched by the sincerity of the boy's words, and he gestures for him to begin whenever he is ready. The boy steps slightly forward,
gripping the microphone, closing his eyes one more time.
And as the first note escapes his lips, that entire auditorium freezes, stunned because his voice is not just good. It is breathtaking, rich, soulful, overflowing with emotion, layered with depth beyond his age. And instantly, the audience reacts, murmuring, gasping, leaning forward as if pulled by an invisible string, made of sound and emotion. The boy sings with a mix of vulnerability and strength, hitting notes that blend power with fragility,
delivering lyrics that seem to come from the core of his being, not just performed but lived,
felt and transformed into something magical. Each sustained note seems to float across the auditorium,
like a ribbon of sound wrapping around hearts,
stirring memories, awakening emotions long buried. Simon, who began with a skeptical expression, slowly widens his eyes, then leans back in his chair, stunned, raising his eyebrows in disbelief.
The transformation of his expression,
becoming a story in itself. As the chorus arrives, the boy's voice soars even higher, pushing boundaries, revealing layers of raw passion
that no one expected from someone so young. And whispers ripple through the audience. People elbowing each other,
eyes widening, jaws dropping.
Some even placing a hand over their chests, as if steadying their own hearts.
Heidi looks at Sophia with amazement. Sophia shakes her head with the kind of disbelief. That means she is witnessing something rare, something unforgettable.
Howie smiles impressed and emotionally moved,
recognizing the authenticity and purity in the boy's performance. But it is Simon's reaction that steals the attention of everyone watching, because he slowly lifts a hand to his mouth, something he rarely does, clearly overwhelmed.
He removes his hand, breathes deeply, and leans in again, studying the boy as though he cannot quite comprehend how someone so young, so gentle-looking, could possess a voice so powerful,
so refined, so emotionally charged. It is the kind of reaction that only happens when talent surpasses expectation, when a performance
crosses the boundary of entertainment and enters the realm of magic.
The boy reaches the bridge of the song,
where emotion pours out of him like a waterfall, where each note sounds like a cry,
a dream, a memory, a promise, and the audience becomes completely silent, listening, absorbing, connecting. The rawness in his voice makes some audience members tear up.
Because this is not just singing.
This is storytelling.
This is a heart speaking through melody.
This is a dream breaking through doubt, pain and fear. Finally, as he approaches the final lines,
the boy gives everything he has left inside him,
releasing one final,
soaring note that echoes throughout the entire theater,
resonating with memory, courage, and hope. And when that note fades, there is a moment of absolute stillness, a moment where time seems to freeze, where no one breathes, where the boy stands trembling,
unsure, waiting, hoping, praying.
Then suddenly, the entire audience erupts into applause. Standing, cheering,
shouting, clapping with intensity,
excitement and emotion.
The boy's eyes widen with shock.
His lips tremble, tears begin to form. Overwhelmed by the sight of thousands rising to their feet for him, the host backstage gasps and claps joyfully, feeling proud of this young boy
who came so far from home to chase a dream.
Simon lifts his microphone slowly, still looking at the boy with astonishment,
and he begins to speak, telling him that he did not expect this,
that he did not expect that kind of voice, that kind of emotional depth, that kind of courage, especially from someone so young,
so humble, so pure-hearted.
He tells him that his audition was not just good, not just impressive, but extraordinary, unforgettable, powerful in a way that transcends age, nationality, and experience. Simon admits that the boy moved him genuinely,
deeply, unexpectedly, and that very few singers ever managed to do that.
The other judges praise him too, telling him that he has something special, something rare, something that cannot be trained or bought, or manufactured, something that comes from the soul. They tell him his story is inspiring.
But his voice is even more inspiring. That his father would be proud.
That his mother must be incredibly proud.
That the world needs to hear him.
Heidi tells him that this is just the beginning. That he is going to go far,
very far, that his journey has just begun.
Sophia says his voice touched her heart genuinely.
And how he tells him that he is a natural storyteller,
with a gift that deserves to be shared with the world. The boy stands there overwhelmed, tears streaming down his cheeks, his heart pounding, his body trembling with relief, gratitude and disbelief.
Then Simon slowly glances at the golden buzzer, a familiar, iconic, shiny button that changes lives,
creates moments remembered worldwide, and the audience gasps, knowing what may come next, feeling a wave of anticipation
roll across the entire theater.
The boy's breath catches, his hands shake, and he watches as Simon rises from his seat, his eyes locked on the young performer, standing under the spotlight,
with all his dreams swirling around him.
Simon walks toward the golden buzzer with calm, deliberate steps, the audience screaming louder and louder, everyone rising again, breathless,
excited, filled with a shared sense of history.
The boy shakes his head in disbelief. covering his mouth with his hands, unable to control the tears falling down his cheeks. Simon reaches the golden buzzer, looks directly at the boy, and says in a firm yet emotional voice that this performance deserves something special, that this moment deserves recognition, that the boy has a gift the world needs to see.
Then, without hesitation, he slams his hand down on the golden buzzer.
Golden confetti explodes from above,
falling like shimmering rain,
sparkling under the stage lights,
covering the boy in a beautiful storm of gold.
The audience roars with joy.
The judges clap and cheer.
The host runs onto the stage to embrace him, and the boy collapses to his knees overwhelmed, crying tears of joy, gratitude, and disbelief as the golden confetti sticks to his hair, his clothes, his cheeks still wet with tears. He stands up slowly, lifting his hands toward the sky,
letting the confetti fall into his palms,
feeling the weight of his journey turning into triumph,
feeling the world
finally recognizing the voice he nurtured through hardship, loneliness, and hope. His mother's face flashes in his mind. His father's memory echoes in his heart. And in that unforgettable moment, he realizes that he has made them proud, that he has taken his first big step toward changing his life forever.
The judges walk to the stage to congratulate him,
surrounding him with warmth,
encouragement, and admiration.
Simon tells him once more that he deserves this, that he earned it, that he has something unique, something powerful, something that will carry him far.
The boy nods through tears,
unable to speak, overwhelmed by the love pouring toward him
from every corner of the auditorium.
As the golden confetti continues to fall, the camera slowly zooms in on the boy's face, capturing the pure raw emotion of a dream coming true. Capturing the beginning of a journey that millions will follow.
Capturing the moment a young Filipino boy stepped onto the AGT stage,
with fear in his heart, but music in his soul,
and left the world speechless, inspired, and in awe.